This is part 3. I've made this go on too long. I'm reminded of our former president, Bill Clinton. Like Bill Clinton, I'm Leo, and I ramble on and on. It's shameless and arrogant. All right, the El Maya, when I felt that guitar, I knew. When I played it, and I have never played a guitar like it, you didn't have to play it plugged in or anything. You knew it was good. If you've ever met anything or anyone or driven a car or met a girl, anything like that in life, when you knew you had been hit by a thunderbolt, that you had seen God, I had to have that instrument, and I thought to myself, by God, I'm going to learn to play this. I was so moved, and that never happens to me. I'm as stubborn and mean as a Brahma bull, as an African Cape buffalo. I am unmovable. It was instant. I bought it. They wanted 200 pounds for it. And I paid 90 pounds for a little Squier amp, which I still have right here in this cabinet over here, and that I can still plug in and play. And it still plays pretty much like it did when it was new. I don't bust my equipment. So I had that guitar, and I learned on that guitar. And I cannot begin to describe how richly rewarding having that instrument has been for me. I found out that Maya is a company. Some people, such as Carlos Santana, John Lennon, Bob Dylan, all have Maya guitars in their collection, which I thought was impressive. But I really, to be the way I am, hard-headed, or as Ellen in New Orleans, my late, she's no longer with us, fiance used to say, I'm a one-way motherfucker. I'm hard-headed. And I admit it. Stubborn and mean. The El Maya was the closest thing to heaven on this earth that I have ever experienced. My feeling for that instrument is of a spiritual nature today. I still have it, and it's still playable. But I don't pull it out of its case much. You know, it's just at an age now to where I generally leave it alone. I don't play the Eric Clapton Signature Series instrument as much anymore because I feel like, you know, having the finish tear off on the neck of an instrument that fine, I don't know. You know, I'm not comfortable doing that. But I do play this guitar every day. And this is the reason I put this film together. I bought this instrument in 1998. The asking price for it at Werlein's Music, who were friends of my dad. He dated one of those girls in the Werlein family when he was young here in New Orleans. He knew them on a personal level. They were asking, this is an American-made Stratocaster. According to the serial number that I looked up on the Fender Guitar site, or Fender Company corporate site, I should say, this instrument was produced in 1997, most likely. Now, sometimes with these instruments, the neck is built at one time and the body is built in another, as I understand it. But generally, this instrument was produced in California, most likely, or Arizona, where the Fender Corporation is located, in 1997. It's a left-hand Stratocaster. I had played 5 to 10 new Stratocasters, one in Biloxi once. I did some recordings on it. It was a solid white ivory Strat, not unlike the look that Jimi Hendrix guitar had at Woodstock, that kind of look, maple neck, so forth. I think the guitar I played that day in Biloxi, though, had a rosewood cover. I can't remember. I think it did, though. I've played other Stratocasters when I first moved to New Orleans in 1997 at other music stores. Maple neck, Sunburst, this Strat happened to be. But it didn't, when I picked this guitar up, it was not unlike the Maya, but the difference is with the Maya guitar, as soon as I touched it and started moving my hands across the fretboard and the strings, I just thought, this can't be real. I thought I was dreaming. It felt so good, I thought I was actually in a dream. And Maya is a company that was built as a corporation in Japan, and it was destroyed in 1993 by a violent earthquake, which Japan has tons of them. It's an island on an unstable landmass, and near the Marianas Trench, where these two tectonic plates meet, you get a lot of earthquakes over there, which is very sad for me. This instrument is an American-made Fender instrument from 1997. It's made for a left-hand player. Werleins had it in a corner of the upper floor where all the rock equipment was sold at that time. This was the store on Veterans Boulevard in New Orleans, or Metairie. And there was a gentleman that was the head of that section of this store in Metairie who called himself Cujo. And Cujo was very long hair down to his back, or his rear end. He had long hair, dark long hair. He was Hawaiian, and he was a professional bassist, and he had played all over the world. The guy was amazing. And they had him in charge of their rock music store. I went in one day, as I'm apt to do just on a whim, and I went upstairs where the rock equipment was, and I looked around, and I asked Cujo, who I had just met, if they happened to have any guitars. That's exactly how I would usually ask. Do you happen to have anything that is made for left hand? And normally the answer is not good. But in this case, they did have this guitar, which is a left-hand guitar. And I picked it up and played it for 30 minutes. And I said to Cujo that it was the finest Stratocaster I'd ever touched, which it was and remains. I am not Eric Clapton. I don't have wherever the fourth dimension is, you know, that many guitars. But I have played a few quality things in my life. I've had a few quality girlfriends. I've driven quality automobiles. I've had quality clothes. And I had a quality family. And I was lucky. My dad came home from World War II alive. He was shot down over Berlin. So, we're back to this. My storytelling leaves something to be desired. I played for 30 minutes, and I noticed after about 15 minutes of playing in there, Cujo hooked me up to an amp and stuff. He was very kind to do that because, you know, they don't always want to do that for you. He's a very classy dude. I played it for about 30, 40 minutes. After about 15 to 20 minutes, as I vaguely remember this, because it's been a long time since that happened, he stopped work, and he came over and stood around and listened to me. And I could see him in the corner of my eye. I was playing and concentrating, but just improvising. I don't play songs. Never will I play songs. I'm not a rock man. I play improvisations. And if they're bad, they're bad. But after 40 minutes, I told him what I continue to believe to this day. As Ellen said, I'm a one-way